Want to welcome you to this edition of UBV News. I'd like to welcome my two cohorts and gentlemen in arms, Mr. Ivory Hodges and Mr. Matt Clayton.
What it do? What
So,
it do, baby?
What's up, y'all?
today's topic, gentlemen, is going to potentially ruffle some feathers, but it's a topic that needs to be addressed. And that is, do you feel the Democratic Party has failed Black Americans? Now, this is something that's been a topic, particularly over the last election, in terms of the amount of Black people that supposedly left the Democratic Party or turned Republican. So I just want to kind of get your thoughts on the whole stance as far as, do you feel that the Democrats have not performed for the African American community?
Of course, of course, of course. My thing is this: Dems. Yes, let's just put it this way. They had a long run. We've been rocking with Dems, Black people, since the New Deal back in the 30s. Way back in 1930, we've been rocking with Dems, and they had a long run, almost 100 years of support from the Black community. And yeah, we got some good things out the deal. But the last, I would say, decade or two, not so much, not so much, not so much. And I think it's time for us to renegotiate what that means, renegotiate what our vote means and our support for the Democratic Party. Now, I am not pro-Democrat, not pro-Republican. I'm just pro-Black. And I think it's time for us to take a step back. That's what we're doing. That's what the whole channel of UBV is about, by the way. We have a survey. Go to blackagenda2028.com. We have a whole survey to try to get an understanding of what our people want and what our people need and where we need to go. So my whole case is this: Democrats, Republicans, wherever you are, you want our votes, you got to renegotiate from a position of strength. That's where we're going to go. We're going to go from a position of strength. We're no longer going to just give blanket checks, writing checks to Democrats or Republicans just because we don't like either one of y'all. Y'all going to have to fight for our vote. We know how precious our votes are. We know our votes matter. And we also know that you need our votes in 5 out of the 7 swing states. So we're going to organize, take a step back, that James Harden step back, and really focus on what we need to do as a community and what we want. Because it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about what we need as a people. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, I mean, I think they have, but I think sometimes people are just too hard on them. I know that sounds crazy, but I think people, it's almost like this, man. You playing a basketball game, and you be like, man, LeBron like really fucked up out there. He's like, man, it's a whole fucking game plan to stop this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes people forget that there were a whole nother party that strategically was fighting against a lot of these different things, right? So I think people kind of forget that, but I think have they let us out? I think of course, but I think if you really look at, you know, why we kind of went Democrat in the first place, I think people a lot of times they forget that we just kind of came in through the New Deal, right? So, you know, we saw some economic opportunities through the New Deal of FDR. Just to kind of let you know, hey, if you want Black support, typically, you know, you might have to do a New Deal if you want massive Black support. Now, the Democrats still have a lot of massive Black support, but you're going to have to offer some economic opportunities. And typically, unfortunately, in this country, there haven't been a whole lot of things specifically towards Blacks. There's been some. We've got a lot of social gains, but not a lot of economic gains, right? So, but I think they kind of have under-delivered in a lot of different ways. But I think sometimes we just forget there's a whole Republican Party, or has been the last few decades, that's been completely fighting against some of these different things, right? So I think you got to keep that in mind that, you know, they're not just failing just on their own. Like there's a whole other party sometimes just fighting against them, has been fighting against them since the '60s. So that's just my take.
Yeah, well, for me, have the Democrats underperformed for the Black community? Absolutely. With that being said, I'm gonna take a different angle. I think that the reason that's happened is because of the lack of pressure on accountability that we as Black people have given them. I hate to say this, but if we're just giving them our votes, which we've done for decades, and have gotten nothing back in return, why would they change? You know, there's no incentive for them to change when they know that every November that we're coming to the polls and we're just going to put D without expecting anything in return. And then going back to what Ivory said, that was the whole purpose of UBV 2028. black agenda is ultimately to set up an agenda to make sure that these politicians are held accountable. We have been so blind to just give our votes to this party for decade after decade after decade. Yeah, we still stand at the bottom of the total poll and everything. And like I said, I do blame the Democrats from a standpoint of they didn't take the action of, reciprocating the love we give them for our votes. But I'm holding us as black people accountable too. We have to start making sure that they understand that we know the power of our vote and that ultimately we're not just going to give it away without expecting something in return. And that's the whole purpose of the Black Agenda 2028. And why we need you guys to go and take that survey is because we have to make sure that we are holding these politicians accountable when we're giving them our vote. So we're not held in limbo like we have been for the last 7 years, just blindly giving it to the Democratic Party.
I'm glad you said that because that's the key thing. The key thing is not blindly giving our votes away. And also, we don't want to be too foolish though either, because we know that the Republicans, they make it very, very, I mean, very difficult for us to vote for them in mass. You look at what they're doing in terms of DEI, just being super hostile to the black community. Like, come on, man, y'all not even trying at this point. Y'all almost by default either gonna tell black folks, you know what, keep voting Democratic Party, or Elon Musk's third party, or we just might sit out. We value our votes. We might just sit out the process because you know what? We ain't taking it no more. We're not just sitting here allowing y'all to just kind of play pinata with our votes. No, our votes matter. We know they matter. And at the same time, again, 5 out of the 7 swing states are black strongholds. So I need for you, the Democrats, if you're the Democratic Party and or the Republican Party, I need for y'all to start thinking in terms of your actual constituents, not just the big pharma, the big Christian, the big oil industry. You need to start thinking in terms of your real actual constituents, because we know Republicans, their constituents are the rich class, the ruling class, as I like to call them. And Democrats, they got a large tent to carry. They have a lot of different people in that group. And sometimes our issues just get pushed back to the back of the corner and say, black folks, oh, okay, all right, we'll throw a little problem, a little crumbs here and there, and they'll vote for us. So baseline of what I'm trying to say is that we're going back to a position of negotiation and playing from a position of strength. We will sit out elections if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I say this too. I think like let's talk about the real problem. All that motherfucking money in politics. I ain't gonna hold you up. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro. If I got elected and I ran off, I'm saying I'm gonna be for the community. Let somebody write a $30 million check to my motherfucking black ass, bro. Hey, I might switch off on my motherfucking plans too, bro. I'm telling you, it's this money in politics, bro. It's so much motherfucking money, bro. If you ask for my vote, you say, hey man, what you gonna do for the community? Leon, man, if I only got a few $1,000s in my account and I become a senator, I become a state rep, and I get millions of dollars, fuck y'all, bro. I'm getting to the bag, bro. And that's what's happening right now a lot, I think, to the politicians. People just getting to the bag. It's just so much money to make. Think about right now, bro. I can get in right now. I can get that taco trade. Or, you know what, man? Trump about to put some tariffs, call up the people. Man, what's going on? Shit. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then walk away with a few extra millions of dollars. Man, that shit's crazy. So I think it's just too easy to just make money, too easy to grift, too easy to rift, and I think sometimes people just get caught up in it.
Yeah, and kind of going off what you just said, man, I 100% agree that money has a big part to do with it. As I've told you guys on multiple occasions, Citizens United, I think, to me, was the worst decision potentially in the history of this country. I mean, excluding slavery and some other things. But just from a political standpoint, that opened up the floodgates to make corporations people. And when you got, your Walmarts and your Targets budgets versus, John Smith down the road, who is working at, McDonald's, there's no comparison. They're going to go to who's going to have the most money. And at the end of the day, money is power. And Citizens United, to me, was the worst decision that ever happened to this country in terms of the effects on the political system and, basically making it to where politicians took heed to corporations versus people. And the thing about it, going back to this Democratic situation, was I know everybody was saying the Republicans were pushing for, Citizens United and everything like that, which obviously they were. But I'm not going to act like the Democrats have not benefited from it as well. Those same abilities to be able to get money from corporations that Republicans take, Democrats have been doing the same thing. So yeah, they may say that, oh yeah, they were against it and pushing against it, but now that it's here, they've utilized it to the maximum just as much as Republicans have. And until that gets overturned, I mean, I hate to say it, it's going to be hard for me to say that any of these politicians on either side are going to take our best interests at heart over somebody like you said, Matt, who's paying them millions and millions of dollars.
And
And
millions.
millions.
So,
Billions. Yeah.
but no, we want to hear from you. What's your thoughts on the relationship with the Democratic Party, and do you feel that they've underperformed for the Black community, or do you think they've done a good job for the Black community? We want to hear your comments. Go ahead below, comment why you feel the way you do. Also, be sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And more importantly, regarding to this topic that we were on, make sure you head to blackagenda2028.com and take the survey. We need your feedback because ultimately, like I said, we're putting together this agenda to take it to these politicians who a lot of them, particularly on the Democratic side, have not been taking heed to us. And Republicans pretty much push us to the side as well. But we want to make sure that they know that we know the power of a vote that we have and how it controls these elections. And that if they don't take heed to what we need, then ultimately they're going to be without our vote and without a position in power. So go ahead, like I said, comment below, like, share, and subscribe. And we appreciate you for joining us on this edition of UBV News. And we are out.